With your hosts, Andy and Nicole. Please put all questions in caps and start with an emoji.
Let's go. Let's go.
Oh, that went all funny then. Just like your camera,
Yeah,
Chris.
a little bit.
Don't know what happened there. Anyway, welcome to the weekly edition of Alienate UK with myself and Nicole and our amazing guest, Chris Turner. Thank you for joining us again.
No, you're welcome, mate. Anytime.
It's
Did
cool.
you all miss us on Friday? I don't think people knew what to do on Friday afternoon.
I missed me. I missed us
I
even.
I did too.
Because last week was the first Friday that we've not done a Friday in like 4 years.
4 years? Is that how long you've been going now?
Yeah. So
Wow.
It was January. The first one was January the 6th, 2021.
I wasn't
God,
here for that.
that has
No.
flown by, really.
I know. I thought it was 3 years, and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling. And just like Wheel of Thought just kept going on forever.
So,
Anyway,
so are you still doing the Friday show, though?
No,
You're
completely
not?
cut it.
You
No.
swapped it, have you?
Wednesdays.
Well, we was doing
Wednesday.
originally it was Friday, then did Wednesday, then did Mondays and a few bits. It was just trial and error. What works, what doesn't work.
Mhm.
And it was just this year, as you know, there's too much coming up at a weekend to do a stream on a Friday, then have to get my ass in the car, drive to wherever I'm going to go, get set up, do what we're going to do, ready for the Saturday. So cut the Friday, gives me finish work Friday, get everything sorted. We can either leave late Friday, early Saturday morning, whatever works for us, and then just go with that.
Yeah, we did the Friday. We did the Friday on Last Transmission for a bit, and it is a bit intrusive into your time. It's weird psychologically that Friday, you know, that you finish work and you don't think you're going to be bothered about it, but you are. and there's always something, obviously, like, as you say, especially in the UK with summer now coming up, we're all busy filming and we're out investigating all the rest of it. So, yeah, nice move there.
Yeah, but there's so much more going on in the UK this year, I think, than there has been in the last 10 years. It's just with conferences and conventions, people meeting up, teams, all that kind of stuff. It just seems to be a lot more people are getting involved. Oh yeah, it took forever.
Long enough, hasn't it? Only 20 years.
Yeah, but it's got there. But it's like as well. It's like the Friday. It's eating into the start of a weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
You know what I mean?
I
think like with you,
yeah, Friday.
Because you do yours on a Tuesday now, don't you? Paul Sinclair does it on Thursday. A few of the American ones are hit and miss, but BMR Rob does it on Thursday. Don't speak to Gerald and Jane. They're doing theirs at the same time as we're doing this. That's why they're not in the chat. But he did message me and say that's why they can't do it. But their guest chose, because the guest is in the UK. Obviously, they're in the Midwest. So he had to choose a time and date, and it just happened to fall on this. So just how it goes, isn't it? So, yeah. But it's just...
We'll forgive it this time.
Yeah, but I think weekends are just... They're getting more important now than what they used to be. But also, I did taxi driving for 3 years. And to make any decent money, I worked in centre of Manchester, you've got to work a Friday, Saturday night.
Yeah.
And it kind of started feeling, nearly 3 years I did that. And it started to feel like that it was just, I wasn't getting a weekend.
Yeah.
No, but it just feels like you're not working all the time. No, it's
But I enjoy this a lot more than work. I don't care who's listening from work. I will tell them to their face.
Me too.
True story.
Wouldn't it be great if this was work? We didn't have to do anything else.
Yeah, that's the dream.
All I just need that one sponsorship that will cover 3/4 of my wage of what I'm getting annually, and I'll be happy. Because that other quarter I won't need for because that's the money that I'd spend at work or going to work and coming back from work. So I can cut that bit off. No, I just need that sponsorship, like 10-year sponsor, X amount for 12 months. There we go.
Yeah, don't we all?
I know.
Right?
I know. It would be so good, but it ain't gonna happen, is it? I think we're all
you never know. Or you need them. Yes. Sorry, Nicole.
Manifest that shit.
I've been doing it 4 years.
Well, or you need to get the smoking gun of ufology or cryptids. You need to get that bit of footage.
I've got it.
Yeah, I believe so. It's interesting.
Look, they're the two. So that's day 2. That's day 1. Sorry, that's day 1.
Well, did you film this?
No. So I'm in Cambridge, and I said I was going down the A14, coming up to the M11 southbound, then cut the A14 and M11 split, then the 14 goes eastbound. So I'm going down there, and I'm between Cambridge and Newmarket, even though Newmarket comes under Cambridge, but it's going further out towards Suffolk. Loads of little villages just scattered about in the countryside, a bit like Cheshire. The way Cheshire's set out, you've got a village and a couple of miles another village, so on and so on. And I'm on the phone to Simon, and I'm going down this country road. I'm like, hot air balloon. And it something just don't feel right, don't sit right. So I managed to pull over in that little lay-by, like a gravel pit, and just took a photo. Didn't think, I thought I'll have a look at it after. I sent it to Simon. He zoomed in, and then we're both realizing, oh my God. Then I sent it to Nicole about 4:30 her time.
That's what it was going to do.
Yeah. And then but as I'm driving down this country road, it's just there. It's just like a dot in the sky. It's not going in any direction, up, down, left, right, diagonally, nothing. It's just sat there. And then that's where I got these images from. So I thought, right, that day, message Nicole, said, can you do a stream? So we did a stream and talked about it while it was fresh. Next day, driving along, but this is nearer to Northampton. If you look middle left, about a third of the way in, you can see another one, like a bit of a spludge.
Yeah, I see.
I love that picture with the bird.
Yeah. So
the bird's watching
it. Yeah, yeah. So I've took that photo. So it's 3 lanes on my side, central reservation, 3 lanes on the other side. So then you've got the banking. So it's like 8 lanes across. So I've had to zoom in. I tried taking a video of that, but the video would only zoom in so far and you couldn't see it. And his kidney stone. Yeah. So with the iPhone, you can take live photos. Is it 2 seconds? It takes like a 2-second video as you take a photo.
Yeah.
So I did that. Anyway, that.
You didn't even realize that though.
No. I forgot all about it.
We were talking about it on stream, yeah.
So this followed me down to where I cut off to where I went to the villages the day before, and I should have seen it in my mirror. Nothing there, right? So I was speaking to Darren, baby with a laser. He's not in the chat yet, and I'm coming back. So where I got back onto the A14, coming back west, I timed and took note of the distance. So it's about 23 minutes, 18.2 mile. And this hot air balloon kept up with me, and I'm doing about 65 miles an hour. But this kept a little bit in front of me all the way. So it must have been doing at least 68 miles an hour. Now, I know how hot air balloons, I know people that have flown them. I know quite a bit about them. Since seeing this, I've done some research on it. Nicole emailed some companies in that area to see if they had any flights, and one got back to her and said, yeah, but that doesn't look like ours. Plus the timestamp on the photos are about an hour or 2 hours out. So it just gets weirder and weirder by the minute with all this. So this kept up with me, but like I said to you before we come on, it's like it's being inflated. So at first glance, it looks like a hot air balloon. And then the longer you look at it, that's when you realize there's no basket on it. There's no formation. It's just not the right size, not the right ratio. Anyway, was it a week, 2 weeks later? I'm going down the A14 again, right in front of me this time. Yeah, hot air balloon. I'm like, you're having a fucking laugh. What's going on? Anyway, this was actually a hot air balloon. So as I got in it, you could see the basket, you could see the 3 people in it, you could see the flame, everything. And it was bigger. It was a proper teardrop shape. It's probably twice the size of these 2 that I'd seen the day previous. But this is the most intriguing bit is if you just normal Joe public and you just look, you go, oh, it's a hot air balloon. And you might watch it for a few seconds and carry on and then not bother with it. But because I knew there was something not right about it, there's a hot air balloon festival in Northampton every year. So I know they have all the weird shapes and like someone said the Bertie Bassett and because Northampton's known for shoemaking, so you have a shoe type, looks like a giant shoe, hot air balloon. Just things like that, the novelty style ones.
Yeah.
But I've seen hot air balloons for years. I used to live near Barton Aerodrome in Earlham, between Eccles and Earlham.
There's been an accident.
So I've lived both sides of that, up near Macro. You know what I mean, don't you?
Yeah.
So we'd see hot air balloons all the time. And it's just, I knew it was a hot air balloon, but this day we're seeing the hot air balloon, it's like, right, I now can debunk that neither of them were hot air balloons. And just to give you a comparison of size, so this building here, it's 4-story. The 2 that I seen was at least this size from where you can see the balconies coming out on the right to the back of the building, like where the brick garage is on the left. And then probably another 3 stories above it. That was the size of the 2 that I'd seen on the Monday and Tuesday. Now, the one that I'd seen that was a hot air balloon was at least twice the size of that, like height-wise. Because, hot air balloons are massive.
Oh, they're huge, yeah.
Yeah. So, it just, on first look, it looked like, but because I'm having to look back at the road, obviously, so I don't crash. So every time I look back, it looked like a hot air balloon. Whether it's cloaking or something was going on. I don't know what it was. There's no motors, there's no sound, there's no light, there's no windows in it, there's no zigzagging across the sky. It was just there.
Anyone else see it?
No. Well, I'm saying no. There's hundreds of cars on the motorways, trucks, construction workers, vans, cars. A lot of people use that to get from the Midlands to London because it cuts out the M6, M1. So you get on the 14, M11, it goes down past Stansted, and then you drop down into London through Tottenham that way. So it's kind of like a back route into London.
Did you not go onto any Facebook groups and have a look, see in local ones?
Had a look. Nothing came up. Og sent me a thing about this gas balloon that these 2, I think, the German pilots took, and they went all the way up to Scotland. But that was a week later. It's different times and everything. But how can you keep up with traffic in a hot air balloon that has no motor, no propels, no way of navigating other than thermals, and just be at the side of me? So other people must have seen it, unless it was just there for my pleasure, should we say? my doings.
You would think someone would have seen it.
I've looked on different groups. I've looked on forums. Someone in Cambridge did see something similar at night, but that was near the airport. Now, Cambridge Airport has got a lot of the military cargo planes in there. You know, the ones that are just normal, just the grey, just plain grey. So it could have been that, because you're only going to see the lights on it, aren't you? You're not. There's no markings. There's nothing. So,
but the thing is,
lights.
all of the companies that I contacted, nobody said like, yes, this was our balloon, or like, it's very likely that this was our balloon. Nobody said anything.
But
that's unusual.
Yeah, to put a twist on it, Darren did look, and that was so. There's a official dates that you can fly hot air balloons from and to. So if say it's the 1st of March, I don't know. So from the 1st of March to the 1st of September, that's the dates. Yeah. So I'm presuming it's because it's too cold to fly in the winter and it'd be too dangerous for them and public safety. So they've got to wait until it gets that little bit warmer, so the spring equinox, when you start getting the thermal drifts and all that, so they can go up, sit in the thermals, and they do early morning or late afternoon, early evening. It's just, and they're the times that I've seen them. See the big Virgin ones, the big blue, red, yellow, green, like full spectrum going around it. I've seen hundreds of them, seen hundreds of balloons.
Well, to be fair, you're lucky you saw it all driving.
Oh yeah, it's just because the one on the second day I just caught in the corner of my eye, and when I took the photo, I had to pull up because there's no hard shoulders now, so you got to pull up in the emergency refuge areas. I thought, well, it is a bit of an emergency. I need to get this photo.
Yeah, define emergency.
Yeah. So that was all I could get, and I thought I need to get going because it forever to get back on the carriageway because of the amount of traffic. But the one on the Monday, it's like I could see it. I know it's not the greatest, but that with an aching eye looked like a hot air balloon, but I could clearly see there was no basket at the bottom.
And also, if it's a hot air balloon, it's a very deflated one.
Yeah, that's unusual looking.
But this is the other thing. So when you watch the photo that I took, press and hold it, you can see it rotating, but it looks like it's dropping. That's only because I've took the photo and put my phone back.
Ah, right. Okay.
Yeah. So it's just, that's my movement, nothing to do with what's going on in the sky. And it's just, it was still there. And I drove about another 2 minutes till I got to my first job. Did that, got out the van. Getting out the van and getting back in the van, I'm looking around, doing full 360 right above my head, as far as I could see. Nothing there anywhere. And it was just no noise, nothing happened after. The next 2 days, I was like, have you seen Goodfellas?
Yeah.
When he's got the CIA and FBI chasing him, they've got the black helicopter. I'm like, I was like that for 2 days because I thought, if this is for me, then surely there's going to be a follow-up to it.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, it's early days.
Thanks.
Oh, look, as you know, it doesn't perform to order, as you know.
No,
so.
Well, no. So this is the original photo. Yeah. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to show you it rotating. It's just, I can't do it because I can only do it on my iPhone. So you ready? So that wasn't good. That was just me moving the camera.
Yeah, like says, I don't know.
Someone said it looks like a bird, but that was 1.5 miles away, and I zoomed in.
A bird?
A bird. That does not look like a bird.
It is a bird. It is a fucking big bird. That's 5 times really the size of my house.
Where's his head?
That's a big bird. Yeah.
So that's just it caught mid-spin, because obviously I just took the photo and then.
Yes,
And you
it's,
can
it's
see,
unusual for sure.
and you can see a bird fly past like now.
Yeah, I don't know. It's, like you said, so much pterodactyl.
Yeah, again, not another.
Wouldn't be the first one.
Yeah, but then the second one. So I know I've debunked that it's not a hot air balloon. Yeah, but this was brought up because we was talking before we come live. Because we're going to talk about Inner Earth.
I was going to say, this is not Inner Earth.
No, it's leading to it, I promise you. But so Chris
How are we
mentioned
gonna get
about all these different crafts that we see. Where do they come from? I know there's a song there, but I nearly started singing it, but I'm not going to.
I don't mind. Go on.
No, yeah, we're the worst disaster ever. But it's like, where are these crafts coming from? Are they coming from outer space? Are they coming from inner Earth? Are they being manifested? Are they
under the water?
Interdimensional? But this is my question for it as well. If these are being manufactured, yeah, say in a UFO factory, who's building them? Yeah, but who's
probably in China?
Who's doing the maintenance on them?
You got to zoom in real close on the UFO pictures and see if it says made in China.
Probably.
No, I mean, it's a good question. Factory.
Yeah, Temu shipping order number. Yeah. But
yeah, no, I think you're right. I think Paul and I we only ever touch on this subject because the disclosure thing is massive, isn't it? You could do shows every night for a month on it, but the origin of these craft and what kind of craft they are. I mean, last night on our show we had Andy Rawlins on, and he's an ex-copper, and he's not a big fan, and neither is Paul really, about a lot of these craft being military. I think that they're of the opinion that more of them are not ET, but they're not ours.
Yeah.
And obviously we'll never know that. That's up for debate, and that's something you can talk about forever and a day. But I think you've just got to take into account all over the last 70 years the amount of whistleblowers that have come forward saying that we have either back engineered these things, crashed them, built them, you name it, all three of those. You know, we forcibly taken these craft out of the sky. So to think that they've not back engineered these things by now, I think that's wild. I think, of course, they have. I mean, you know.
But so here's one of my latest questions. I don't have an answer to it, but it's just something that intrigued me. So everyone's saying, a lot of they are going to use the term they, whoever they are. They're saying that they come to us and swap their knowledge of technology for whatever it is they want to take from us. But what if it's not that? What if we have the technology, we have the knowledge of how these things work, and that's why there's so many crafts that are seen, because they're coming to us to find out how to make it work, to keep it going, and we are the manufacturers of these craft. I'm not saying it is that, it's just a thought.
Well, and what are they getting, and what are they giving us in return for this?
Well, the hierarchy are going to be getting some. Oh, this is where I need to choose my words. So YouTube don't.
Yes, I know what you're thinking.
Yeah.
So they're getting what they need. They're getting their disclosure. I suppose the road I'm going down is eternal power or eternal life.
I don't know. There's some very convincing
possibility
portraits of celebrities from like the 1500s and 1600s.
Nicolas Cage, John Travolta, the Pope, to name a few.
Yeah, Keanu Reeves.
Yeah.
Yes.
They're right.
Yeah,
It's like it's real life Benjamin Buttons, isn't it? They're just not.
We've either
They're not
gotten
getting
the
What?
Fountain of Youth, or they're a vampire,
Yeah.
or
I was going to say
stem
that.
cells, whatever.
Well, you've got the tree of life, like the cross with the hoop at the top, and they do where they seem symbols where they turn it upside down. These are all different, but that goes back to Satan worshipping, where you get the cross, which if you fold it up, you get the cube, like this graduation cap, and it's just there's a million different places you can go with that.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. I just think. I mean, look, take Nathaniel's information, which is really interesting. I think he's on. I think he's right. I think he's just put another dimension to it in the sense that we are. I think we are and have been trading with these various beings, for want of another word. And as you say, maybe there isn't just one trade-off. Maybe one civilization wants this. Another one wants that. You might be right, you know. And we're getting various things from various cultures. It kind of makes sense. I mean, you'll have. Well, I think Linda Moulton Howe insists that the trade embargoes have been disclosed now. You know, whether you believe that, I don't know. But look, at the moment, everything under the sun is being said, and there's all sorts of wild suggestions being made from whistleblowers. So, look, I don't think anything is off the table. I mean, sometimes we all do it. We talk about these subjects, don't we? Even me and you got just off about in Earth earlier. And sometimes we think, ooh, shouldn't talk about that. It's a bit... and really, I don't think anything is off the table, especially in this subject, because if one of those dominoes falls down, then the rest of the dominoes go with them.
Exactly. And the thing is, there's nothing to say that none of us are wrong. It could just be little aspects or little bits of each theory that are correct. We've just not linked all them bits together yet.
Or it could be something completely different that we can't even wrap our heads around because we couldn't begin to understand it.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. I mean, you do get the odd whistleblower that will say that, you know, there are things that we won't talk about because it's just too frightening. Yeah. And if you think about it, if it's like if their world's like our world, full of duality and full of light and dark, it makes sense that, you know, I mean, it's a pretty dark place at the moment, our world, isn't it? You know, just looking at the broad picture. I mean, you can find your own light wherever you choose, but what I'm saying is the broader picture is, I mean, it depends how much of that stuff you listen to and buy into, but generally it's pretty bleak.
Yeah, but it's like, I don't watch the news, I don't read a newspaper, not because I'm illiterate or anything like that. It's just like you said, it's too dark, it's miserable. It's all about everyone hating on everyone and falling out, and the media kicking off with celebrity families and all that. I just can't be arsed with it.
Yeah, it's just
not for me.
It's just programming. Yeah, that's all it is. It's just programming. We know this.
Yeah.
It's just agenda. It's just the agenda, whatever, whether you believe that in the big one agenda or a couple of them running side by side. It's definitely look. I think you've got to be blind now not to see that stuff that's staring you in the face. All of us, everybody. You know, before I think there were groups of people that it didn't touch, but it's touching everybody now. Yeah. So, you know, the only way you will not see this is if you choose to not see it, which I wouldn't blame anybody for, because it's, you know, it can get quite dark, can't it? You know, some of this stuff, you don't want to talk about it. So I understand that. Yeah. I mean, blue pill, red pill, isn't it? That's the
I'll have both.
But it's really I can see why people wouldn't want to acknowledge it or believe it, because it kind of challenges your whole perception of reality.
Yeah,
your
for
trust
sure.
in government, your trust in your elected officials, your trust in God, whatever it might be.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, just with the passing of the Pope just recently, that was interesting. Just looking at the reaction to that, that was you know,
Yeah.
without offending anybody. I just don't get it personally, but there you go.
No. Well, I think I offended a few people, but it was too late. I'd done it, and I'm not religious. I didn't do it maliciously. It's my take. It's not my thing. But I weren't slagging anyone off, slagging him off. It's just that it's the way they go about doing it. They're not, this is what happened. It's all for smoke and mirrors all the time. They're hiding stuff. They're not telling you stuff. Then they'll tell you little bits. Then the truth starts to come out. Then they go, oh no, we got this bit, we got that wrong. This is what happened. But now they're saying that he died when they opened the portal, but they've done it to coincide with Easter Sunday.
Well, the dates are all wrong anyway. So what's that got to do with anything? You know, look, I'm not necessarily down on the religion. I'm down on that actual take the Vatican as a whole. I mean, really?
Yeah.
This is a holy organization, is it? This really? Do the history on these lot. I mean, come on, look at Jordan Maxwell's research on them. I mean, yeah, it's crazy to think that these are meant to be holy people and people are kneeling at the feet. It's absolutely bizarre, really.
Why did they have to declare the Vatican as its own country with its own currency?
I wonder why.
Yeah, because then it cannot be touched by certain laws.
And here's a group that obviously admit they keep secrets. You know, like just the library itself, and you know, just religion itself. The idea that you can remove books and we don't want that book. No, I'm going to get rid of that one, and then we're going to get rid of that Mary Magdalene's book. Get rid of that. Jesus is young years. No, get rid of that one. I mean, it's like, come on.
But they obviously they don't get rid of him
with their narrative.
Sure, exactly.
Yeah. But they won't get rid of him. They'll just stick him somewhere else, so they're not accessible by public. Or you could probably count on one hand the people that have access to these chambers, these rooms where all the stuff's kept.
Yeah, and I'm not a person that thinks that Jesus didn't exist. I think he did.
Yeah,
I think he did. I think he was trained by the Essenes, and you know, he was. Whether or not he had gifts, I think he probably did, from what I can tell. But some of us have gifts. Yeah. So again, it depends. It's discernment, and it depends how you look at it. It's perspective, isn't it? So yeah, I think the guy existed from what I've read, which is not a great deal, but. As you say, it's just been manipulated now, but it's not the only thing. It's like everything else. Everything's manipulated. It doesn't matter what it is. It's plastic. The whole thing's anything you watch is plastic now. It's just nothing's real.
No.
Well, when it comes to that, you think of, the fact that Christianity kind of pigeonholed things to fit in with pagan religions, so it would be an easier transition.
Yeah.
So, what else did they kind of make fit?
It's all done for their own benefit, not for anybody else. It's done to make life easy for them and without them having to answer any questions.
Yeah, and look, I mean, we're kind of picking on Christianity and Catholicism here.
Well,
I mean,
any of it.
Yeah, any of them. They're all control mechanisms at this point. I mean, they may well not have been at the very infancy.
Yeah, they probably legit, and they was set out to do the right thing. But I think too much has happened and changed for God knows how many thousands of years that it's become what it is now.
Well, we talk, don't we? We talk about some of this phenomena that we see, ghosts and hauntings, and when you look at the loss of life, just look at the loss of life caused by these organizations alone, by religions alone. Can you imagine how many tens of millions of people over throughout the wars and can you imagine? I mean, I can't imagine. And we wonder why we get haunted hotspots and paranormal spots, and we hear disenchanted voices and scream, and any number of weird things that can be associated or trapped within these traumatic places and events.
Because you've just picked up on something that I'd been thinking about a while ago and forgot. So all these billions of people and animals, even plants, people say plants have souls as well, and trees. If all these have passed over and the energy's gone back into the source of the void or whatever, then surely there must be, why we're not feeling, seeing, or experiencing a lot more of what has happened from the beginning of time. Why is it just the odd little thing here and there? People say you've got to be tuned into it and that, but I know people that have had encounters and they still don't believe in it. And they'll tell you their encounter and they go, yeah, but it's nothing, so it doesn't matter. That is literally their words.
Well, you said the beginning. You said then the beginning of time, and just we don't even know when that was. We don't even. We actually know, the public especially. We actually know nothing. We know so little about what's really going on, because when you actually dig into just a little bit of history, you can pull it to pieces.
Yeah,
you can pull it to pieces. Any book you like, it's and. Again, it's one of those areas that you don't want to look too hard at it, because you kind of need something to ground yourself, to anchor yourself to, because and maybe they talk about disclosure will change things, and I think to be fair, I think a lot of us are ready for that, for whatever that might be. I mean, obviously we're not ready. We don't want to be all cooked up and harvested. I can live without that.
Oh, but no.
But I think, rightly or wrongly, I think there are a lot of people waiting for some sort of some people have called it the return of the King, the Christ, or whatever you want to call it, Christ consciousness, or however that might come about. But it's not looking like that's going to happen anytime soon, is it? So,
no.
I mean, have you guys given much? Have you given much thought to that threat narrative? Have you? Where are you with that?
What about
the threat, the whole threat narrative around the NHIs, non-human intelligence? Where are you at on it?
I think if they wanted us to be, gone, we'd be gone.
They'd have done it. They'd just do it. Because I'm going to jump back to this, and I've spoken about it a couple of times before. When people say about demons, if a demon is going to get you, it's not going to twat about banging pots and pans and slamming doors and cupboards and walking up and down stairs. It's going to grab you by the doodahs and drag you to hell. Yeah? If it wants you, it's just going to take you. It's not going to fuck around and wait and, let's make some noise first. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So
I don't know. Listening to and looking at Nathaniel's work and other people before him, I think there are certain rules. I think there are certain rules that they have to abide to. Not necessarily rules. I think there are. I don't think they're all powerful. Yeah, conditions. Exactly. That's a good point. Yeah, conditions, and rights and ways that they can achieve their goal, and conditions have to be right for that.
Yeah.
So whether
I get that, but it's just it's a poltergeist, the stereotypical poltergeist, and people go, it's demons, and for me, it's not demons, because I've read stories. I don't know how true these stories are, but people that have been obviously not from that person, but of witnesses that were there, or family members, where the person's been with them, they've been sat in a field, and then that person's vanished, and they can hear them screaming underground, never to be seen again. And then these ones where they get a phone call and it's all fuzzy and like burning and screaming in the background, and it's someone that's just died or not long since passed, and you've got stuff like that. So that's, for me, that's a dark demon side to it. I think if they're going to get you and take you, like you said, they do have to have conditions, but surely they'll keep on at you and keep doing stuff to get them conditions to be bang on and then take you. And I don't think it'll be something will happen in 2 weeks and nothing for 3-4 years. Unless they're doing it just to torment you. I don't know.
Well, it can be more subtle than that. And I think in some respects throughout last few years, well, let's say 14 years or roundabouts, I've been doing this now. I've definitely felt their presence around people, around situations, if you know what I mean. I certainly feel like they have manipulated events and meetings, and whether good or bad, I mean, forces intervene, and you sometimes feel like you're being pushed down one path and away from another. I felt like that when I was doing the reptilian stuff. I felt I was being guided away from that. There were little things would happen and to dissuade you and make you think, oh, is this worth doing this? Is it worth going down this road? And just very subtle things, because I think that's the kind of, until you are in a situation where you're in some form of ritual with them and you've done some sort of trade, like they might with a gin, or someone like Jack Parsons, when they were looking to find out how to build to channel the rocket designs and all the rest of it and whatever else they learned. But other stuff like that, you know what I'm saying? Wealth, whether you make it, some sort of deal with the devil, essentially. You hear a lot of that in the especially now in politics and in music, particularly because musicians are more powerful than politicians now. I mean, that's something that I don't think the young people don't think about that, but I tell my daughter all the time, these musicians have much more power politically and than any politician, which is why they're all on board now, which is why they are procured. Sorry.
Well, it is because they've got the following. They've got worldwide fame and followers, and
they've got influence, and that's really what it boils down to.
And they're buying the tickets, they're buying the records, the movies, whatever it is that they do, and they're lining their pockets. And as we know, money's power. So then,
and everybody knows Taylor Swift wanted. She was always voting for Biden. I mean, she was always checking politics and following it, weren't she? We all know that. I mean, come on. Just but that's how they get the young crowd, and that's how for me there's quite a growing bunch of liberals now growing through that have been manipulated through that, which is sad.
So I was going to say, so do you think that these young artists have been, should we say, guided to take that path, or did they do, as you said, a deal with the devil and sell your soul for whatever it is you want out of life?
I don't think they would be any different than some of the very, very powerful and rich, names that we don't know, but some names that we do. If you imagine that, look at Crowley, he had a lot of followers, didn't he? And that were musicians and film stars.
Well, I was going to say his following was pretty much a rich and famous.
Yeah, and why is that? I mean, think about it. You don't have to. It's not a trick question.
No,
obviously we know why. For power and influence. That's what you can. And look, that's going down. I don't tend to understand that side of magic at all. But what I do understand is that we all have that power within us. So you can manifest your own things. They might be smaller, they might be less subtle, but you do. However you look at it, you do manifest. I'm certainly a believer in that.
Yeah.
So the state of the world, that's why they have to manipulate the way we think. Because if we were to get together and go back to what Ike was saying, David Icke, if you're into him or whether you're not into him, the key is if they can control consciousness and that's it, game over. And then all that.
Your thoughts are not your thoughts. They're basically implants.
Well, negativity breeds negativity. It's as simple as that. And they're both an energetic resonance. They're a frequency, aren't they? It's just really as simple as that. It's the same walking into a room where there's been an argument. I know it's a well-used analogy, that, but when you walk into that room, something's gone down. And it's the same in the world. It's some people say that you get that. I mean, we're talking to a guy, Stan Smith, the other week, and he was saying that sometimes you get that feeling up at is it Culloden in Scotland?
Yes,
you know the battle.
I think so.
The famous battle.
It rings a bell. So
between
I'll
the
say
English and
yeah.
the Scots. Yeah, I think it's Culloden battlefield, and obviously a lot of loss of life. And I've actually filmed in France. My mate took me to a place called. He's a war historian. He took me to this wood, High Wood, it's called, and a lot of soldiers died in there. And it's really strange vibe in there when we went in. So you can pick up on it. And I'm again, I've said it before. I'm not Mr. Sensitive, so if I can pick up on it,
But it's like first time I went to Rendlesham. So I met with Alex Lovelock and Mike Millwood, and walking down. No, I think the first time it was just me and Alex. I can't, whoever, anyway. And we're walking down, and in the tree line, I just seen something walking like 4 trees deep, going the opposite way to us. And as soon as I turned, gone. So it was in my peripheral. Anyway, got a bit further down, and Alex is telling me about when he got there. There's a big crater, and he believes it was a German plane that crashed. So it's like right over the other side of the runway. And he said that he's seen the pilot and co-pilot. I can't remember if he said they have parachutes on. And they said, one of them said to him, "Forgive us for what we've done and what we're about to do." Right? And it wasn't until we got further down, it's like that figure that I seen walking that way looked like had a World War II German outfit on. As soon as I got back, shit signal there. So as soon as I got back home, jumped on the computer, I just typed in World War II SS uniform, and it was a grey fleecy jacket. It was the hat, the collar, everything about it's like that is what I seen. It was that. So he'd seen this pilot and co-pilot, and I'd seen. Well, I think it was an officer. From what I could see on the pictures online to what I could remember seeing, because it was literally there, and as soon as I turned full on, it had gone. And for 2 of us, on 2 separate occasions, a total of 3 German military people in one place. That's weird.
Yeah, I mean, it must be rife. These battlefields must be rife with this energy.
Yeah.
I mean, I know you do a bit of ghost hunting. We've never really done any of that kind of stuff, but I would imagine that you could probably get quite a bit of evidence. Certainly, what's it called? Electronic voice, EMP.
Oh,
stuff.
EVP. Yeah.
EVP, sorry. Yeah, EVP.
Yeah. But it's like first time I interviewed Nathaniel, I asked him like, does he think that there's life in other parts of the universe? And this came through microphone. And it said, So it whispered it. It said like a bit mechanically, but it said, And we didn't hear. A guy called Jason Pritchard messaged me and said, if you listen back on timestamped it, you hear a voice. So as I asked the question just before Nathaniel answers it, it says that. I can play it for you if you want. If I've
what
got
did it say? You know.
There we go. I'll play it for you now. It's only 40 seconds.
It's of deception here. It's of deception. And so I wouldn't trust myself around them. If they wanted to manipulate me and my perceptions, it'd be difficult for me not to just go with it.
No. Great answer. Thank you. No. Great answer. Thank you. Do one more question before the break. Before the break.
That's fine.
All right.
That's fine.
I'll do this one. This is from Rick Ellen again. Does Nathaniel believe that there is no life elsewhere?
Well, in that aspect of it, I don't know that there. Well, in that aspect of it, I don't know that there. I mean,
yeah. Did you hear that then?
No.
So as soon as I ask him, you hear, like a whispery.
Well, that's happened to him a few times, hasn't it? It's happened to on the live stream with Nathaniel. Yeah, it's happened a few times, I believe. Yeah.
Yeah. And I've had it with Chris Reinhardt, who does Discover Sasquatch. I was getting ready, like we was on it, getting ready before, and he'd gone to use the bathroom or something, and he's got a sound gate, and he's on his computer, so nothing can come through. He's in the basement, and I thought he'd come back, and he's like, someone's going, "Are you all right?" And I'm like, yeah, not bad. And I'm thinking, well, sure, he's already asked me that. And then about a minute later, he come down. I'm like, was you just talking to me? He's like, no. I went, is there anybody else in the house? He went, no, the missus has gone picking the kids up from school. There is nobody here.
Great,
so I told him, he goes, was you recording? I'm like, of course I wasn't. That'd be too easy.
Yeah, of course.
But that's happened about 3-4 times, in total about 3-4 times. And it's just crazy. Yeah, Alex is in the chat. He just said it was the first time we met. It was just me and Alex. But it's where, so the path that you go down is where the tunnel is underneath. He's got the big concrete tunnel, like round slab on top of it that's locked down, metal bars, and that's where the railway is underneath, what they use for when they was moving nuclear warheads without the English knowing that we was doing it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, it was all in that area. So there's a lot more going on at Rendlesham than a UFO on Christmas Day. Alex says it's not as active as it was, or he's getting old and he's just not feeling it anymore. But yeah,
we're going to go this year. I've never been, so we're going to definitely get down there this year to Rendlesham. Yeah,
give us a shout. Like I said, it's probably about 4 hours for you, 3.5, 4 hours.
Yeah,
it's about just over 2 hours for me. I've been asked to play the clip again. You don't mind, do you?
No, play it again, but turn your mic off because we're getting a repeat, weren't we?
Right. Give me 1 sec.
Although it should mute you by default, should it?
No, I've got a media screen open as well. So it's probably sorry about that. It's probably picked it up on that. Right, I've turned that off now. So, right. So about 10 seconds before the end.
Of deception here. And so I wouldn't trust myself around them. You know, if they wanted to manipulate me and my perceptions, it'd be difficult for me not to just go with it.
No. Great answer. Thank you.
Yep.
Right, do one more question before the break.
Okay.
All right.
That's fine.
I'll do this one. This is from Rick Allen again. Does Nathaniel believe that there is no life elsewhere in the universe?
Well, in that aspect of it, I don't know that there isn't.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I could say I believe.
Yeah, I heard it.
You heard it then?
Yeah, I heard it that time, yeah.
Yep.
Cool, yeah.
So that's what I mean. That's the only one I've caught alive or recording. I've got them when I've been out and about and like doing EVPs out in the field, quite literally. But other than that, that's the only one that I've ever got on tape.
Yeah, I think you can get it if you practice it, you know, religiously in these locations. I think you can end up with some really good. Steve Merritt, and when he were doing that stuff with Don a lot,
yeah,
they used to get loads of EVP stuff.
I know, but it's like, I mean, Steve knows what he's doing, doesn't he? He's been doing it for like forever, since he were born. Do you know what I mean? So he knows what to look out for, is what I'm trying to say. He knows where to look and what the little telltale signs are.
Yeah, I just think keep it simple. That's ask the questions, give yourself plenty of time, and you know, that kind of thing. And I think I've had some really good EVP stuff over the years. So that, you know, whatever that is. I mean, the skeptic will always come up for an excuse for that anyway.
Oh yeah,
you know?
Yeah, of course he will.
Yeah,
goes without saying. But it's like, I used to take loads of different. I still take like a bag with all different bits in it, or a box with like. But I don't. Hello, she's back. But I don't use it all. I take it because I don't know what the environment's, especially somewhere that I've not been before. I don't know what the environment's going to be like when I get there. So then if you take the wrong equipment, it's like, oh, I'm going to be having to mess about with it. Do you know what I mean? But
I know what you mean.
I will settle for dowsing rods, digital recorder, torch, laser pointer, and a couple of other bits. But I only use the laser pointer as a laser pointer. So it's like, oh, did you see that move over there? And then if you're in the woods, you've got to move near the tree, like 10,000 trees in front of you. But so you can point literally to where the exact point of where you've seen whatever it is you've seen.
Yeah.
So that's what I use it for. Not really anything else. Just pinpointing. So I don't know.
Laser grid, because you set up the laser grid and it's really easy to see any motion.
Yeah. Well, I've got
sorry, Mac.
No, it's right. Go on.
I was just going to say, who are the in the UK and in the States? Who are the like big paranormal ghost hunting groups that people watch these days? Are there any that haven't gone, sensational? You know what I mean? I've just took it too far. Are there any credible ones that are?
The ones that I've heard of. So Twin Investigates are good, which are the girls. They're the ones from Manchester. So Sarah used to co-host with the show and what have you. And then sister Emma, Adi and Tony. We've gone out and done an investigation with them. And it just, the night lit up. It was just mad. Really was. Then you've got, are they called GTI? I can't remember the two guys' name. Go GHI?
Ghost Hunters International?
Yeah.
GHI.
They're from the they're from the UK, but they go all over the place. But do you know what? I've, like you said about me going out ghost hunting, in the last 8 months, I've completely dropped back from ghost hunting. Hence, like with the name change of the channel, I've gone back to what my roots are of the phenomenon paranormal, which has always been UFOs, aliens, and cryptids. Because that's, for me, that's where it first started. Yeah, I've seen ghosts. I've had disembodied voices, full body apparitions, floating shape, hooded things under bridges and all that kind of stuff. So one of them was actually Leverhulme Park near the bowling green. As you come down off Berry Road and you go up across, and there's that first bridge, we were stood under there. It was snowing. And there's me, my cousin, it's like called Carl. And we all used to meet up there. Obviously, it was winter. I was about 14, 15. And we just looked across on the other side of under the bridge. And the side that we were on, there's a little platform, probably about as wide as that keyboard. So you stand on it, but your toes are hanging over. On the other side, there's nothing. It dropped down. It's brambles. It's all iron bars. It's holding the bridge up, and then just gravel at the bottom. It was like the head and shoulders tapered down, and then no feet. I got from under the bridge, up the side, round, across the bridge, and onto the road before them two got from under the bridge. I was not hanging about. So I've had all that kind of stuff happen to me, but I think my passion has always been like the UFOs. I think it's more the UFOs, the crafts. Like I said, how are they manufactured? Where did they come from? How did they work? All that just every single question you can think of. Who's flying them?
I think that's why we have a good balance, because you do more of that and then I do more of the ghost stuff.
Yeah.
So we got all our bases covered.
And we both dip into and we both dip into the cryptid side of it. Mm-hmm. Which I'm going to be doing a little bit more now because I'm co-hosting with Kate Ray on Hare and the Hawthorn. So that's more Fae elementals. We're going to be talking, I think, I don't want to give too much away, but about how is Bigfoot part of the Fae world and all that kind of stuff. So I think we're doing our next one at the end of May because we've both got loads of stuff going on. So I'm going to be learning a lot from that because I know bits, I know what I've read, what I've seen, but I couldn't do a presentation on it. It lasts about 30 seconds. That's it. It's done.
And
so
that's
I want to learn. I want to learn about it. I want to
That's
find
the
out
problem
more.
with this subject. Now it's gone from nuts and bolts ufology into everything.
Yeah,
there's just not enough hours in the day to like you said. I guess we think about it with disclosure. Have you ever heard anything about the fair mentioned? Have you ever, I mean, some of us guys mention it now and then, don't we? We throw it into a conversation, but generally, it isn't talked about. But it's a whole other subject with a lot of mythology to it, but also history to it. That could be relevant. Yeah.
But if you speak to Barry, like Barry Fitzgerald, his take on the fair, obviously he's from Ireland, so he's big on it. It's just, it gives it a whole new meaning. It's just I can't explain it. Just either read his book, listen to his books, or if you get the chance, speak to him and ask him about it. And it's just, it'll blow your mind. It really will.
Well, when they acknowledge other dimensions, which they have just recently, a few years back, but is that what that is? Is it as simple as that? That's what it is. That's the fair. That's where they are.
But is it though? Or do they just know how to not be seen by humans? Because we only use something like 2% of our vision, our frequency. We can only see like 2 something out of the full spectrum of it. So do they just know how to resonate outside of that? So we're not picking up. They're there all the time. We just don't see them because we haven't got that frequency.
Yeah, I've got a friend, Ellis Taylor, that's had a lot of interaction with the fair, in bad and good. And he, he would say probably something similar to that. But they do disguise themselves many times as just humans.
Yeah,
but if you're sensitive, you know the difference.
Yeah, and this is the other thing. And me and Nicole discussed this quite a lot. It's like even going back to ghost spirits. How do you know that you're not seeing 20, 30 ghosts a day? Just because you're walking down the street or walking around Tesco or Target or whatever, how do you know them people are real people? The amount of NPCs that I see on a daily basis.
NPC.
Imagine how, whatever they are. Imagine how many that could just be spirits or not of this reality.
No, that's true.
We don't know. We just don't know.
We've all probably seen a lot more ghosts than we think we have. Definitely.
Yeah.
I would have thought. Yeah. Oh, ghost. Well, I say ghost. It could be anything.
Yeah.
Well, think of all the stories that are like, oh, I was talking to this man, and they're like, that man hasn't been working here in 50 years.
Yeah.
Paul Howard went into a pub and got served, and he gave a £5 note, and he got change, and there's all these people in there. This pub had been shut for like 70 years or whatever, and it happened to somebody else. Paul Howard. He's
that's weird, isn't it?
I'm actually meeting him at the end of next month. This time next month, I'll be meeting him at the Cryptid conference down in Bridgewater. So I just want to get that recording. So hopefully it'll just tell me that story, and I just want to use it if he gives me permission. So it's just an amazing story.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's fascinating. I mean, but if again going back to time, if everything's happening now, does that mean? Do you know what I mean? Again, where'd you go with this?
Well, I was watching something on, I think it's Joe Rogan the other day, and he was saying about everything's happening all at once. So everything's happening at the same time, and it just keeps going round again and again. He goes, but how can it go around again and again if it's happening all at the same time? There is no future, there is no past, so therefore there's no loop. It's just a straight line. So it's not happening again and again because it can't if it's all happening at once. I'm not just, even now my head hurts just saying it.
I don't think we can understand the concept of time. And that's why our brain has to put it in a linear way that makes sense to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, because you can look at a clock.
Exist.
Yeah, you look at the clock and it's 20 to 10 UK time. Yeah.
Mhm.
That's I can see what time it is. I can see what day it is. See what day of the week it is. But that's just human for measuring, for recording events,
Mhm.
so on and so on. It's not.
Yeah, it's a measuring stick. That's all
Yeah.
it is. Yeah.
It's not a solid format. It's just there, so we
Because
know what to do.
even if you think too hard about it, like, okay, so you're at work and your day, some days are dragging and an hour feels like forever. But then you're doing
Today.
something else and an hour feels like it goes by like that. So
Yeah.
time is even relative, like, to ourselves.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think that we all then, the time that we're experiencing is different to each other? Because
Like, my hour isn't your hour, isn't Chris's hour.
Yeah. Yeah, because I've said to Becky or whoever, it's like we've been in the house, we've been doing stuff. It's like, Jesus, that hour's gone quick. It's like, I thought it was only like 10 minutes. Do you know what I mean? And it's our perception of the time is completely different.
Yep.
Yeah, you live in your own universe. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've heard that thrown about quite a lot, which brings into the equation like manifesting. What is manifesting? Well, I'm just manifesting things in my world. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
it can get really complex really quick.
Yeah.
But I love all this stuff. I think the deeper, the better, because there's more questions. And this is why what we asked you the question last time you was on, would you like to know everything there is to know about the paranormal and the phenomena? And this is why I wouldn't like to know, because I like these conversations. I wouldn't like to be that person goes, like if you say, oh, what do you think this is? Well, actually, it's like, shut up, stop being a dick. Do you know what I mean? I like not knowing.
Imitating somebody?
No, it's the not knowing. It's these deep conversations are what make it. For me, anyway.
Yeah, but I think if I've had so long not knowing, I would love to be the oracle and just sit there and just wind people up with the answers.
Because there's so many more places you can go with that. It's like, okay, well, actually, it's this. But why do you think that you perceive it differently than this person does?
Yeah.
It's the
But then, Chris, you would become them because knowledge is power.
Yeah, but I'd just be dicking about with it. I'd just be saying there is no spoon.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. Yeah. Would anyone like a golden egg? All that kind of stuff. Yeah. But it's just.
Well, do you know all that the time thing could be, really, and certainly the guys who were doing, the Montauk and Philadelphia experiments, and I think there's a lot more to that in ufology. There's a lot. That's the whole time thing, time space thing.
Wormholes.
Yeah. It has a lot more skin in the game rather than it's given credit for, I think. But it's so complex. Look, it's physics at the end of the day. It's so complex and difficult to understand that your layman, your everyday person, just doesn't have the brain power for it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's so boring until you get to the answer. You know what I mean? Just give me the answer.
Yeah.
What's the answer?
Yeah. No, I get that, but it's. I think ufology plays a bigger part in the paranormal, like you just said, than what we actually think it does. Just because you don't see a craft or a way of the cryptid traveling, it doesn't mean to say it's not there. I know it sounds like I'm talking nonsense, which it does anyway, but how are these beings getting there? How, whatever's causing the activity that's going on, if they are coming from somewhere else, they need to travel. So whether the craft is nuts and bolts, organic, biomechanical, whatever it's made, whether it's just self-manifested by whatever it is that's piloting it, it doesn't matter. But it's still, you need something to travel from point A to point B.
Yeah, well, it's a bit. Well, it's like Nicole was saying earlier about how we think linearly, and we do the same with everything. So we always think A to B, don't we? And the time in between. Yeah. So if you look at the photon experiment that they did, that was just instantaneous and they're connected. So if it can just appear and reappear at a different spot, that's how it's done. And as you say, it's just something, you know, I know, look, it's always our get out of jail card free. It's just something we don't understand, isn't it? Yeah. And I think we're in our rights to say that because we don't bloody understand it. So that's all it is. You know, it's not what your skeptic says. It's not that it doesn't exist and you know, these things don't happen. It's just they do and we don't understand it. That's the bottom line.
Well, we're like limited by our physical body. Like our physical body has to move from point A to point B for us to get there. Yeah. Mm-hmm. But when you talk about things like astral travel and remote viewing, you don't have to travel there. You are just there instantaneously once you go into that state or that whatever.
Yeah. Yeah. But it's like Steve Mera when he did the Rochdale poltergeist, he did the investigation for it, and the cup, there's a cup there. And then the cup went missing. It gone through a portal, whatever, I don't know. And then it came back, but it was the same cup. And then there's water on the ceiling. I don't know where the water came from. They tested it. It was H2O. And just things like that. So they are solid objects that were removed and brought back. Well, the cup was anyway, or the mug. So something knows how to do it.
Well, I think the worst part about it is that somebody knows. Our members of these teams, or whoever they are, or these elites, or whoever they are, the cabals, whatever. And maybe probably your layman, your everyday person that's born with a really high IQ, they probably know the answers to some of these things. And that's the worst part. They're keeping these things secret. That's the worst. That is follow Stephen Gray, love him or loathe him. Yeah, you can't really argue with what he's saying. They're keeping the secrets. That's illegally. Yeah. That's what they're doing. You know. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
But it's wild to think that somebody knows the answer to these things. Somebody might have it 100% right, but they're labeled as like crazy, nut jobs, like liars. You would never know that they're telling that they have the whole picture because they get labeled as whatever.
Yeah, because as soon as society or whoever labels them, it's like, oh, don't speak to them. They're out the red. Even though, even though, like I said, they could be telling the truth, they're given that as a diversion. Mm-hmm. But going back to the Philadelphia experiment where they moved the ship, I can't remember the name of it, whatever it's called, the US
Eldridge.
Eldridge, that's it, yeah. Compare that to the cup that went missing in Rochdale. It got transported somewhere else and then it came back. It's a very similar sort of thing. And that was a government experiment. So what's not to say that it's us that are doing it?
I think that. Have you ever listened to that Al Bielek interviews? Have you listened to him? Al Bielek is called, from the Montauk experiments, the Philadelphia experiments.
Yes.
I think he's done a couple. He's done a couple of interviews with. Who was the guy from the 90s with the eye patch on? Do you remember him? He used to do the TV show and had all the ufologists on and crystal skulls and. Really well-known guy. Used to wear a black eye patch. And he used to run it with Peggy. Do you remember this name? Peggy Kane. Do you know Peggy Kane?
Rings a bell.
Peggy Kane used to do the reptilian stuff years ago. The reverse audio stuff. You know, she would play things backwards and decode.
Yeah.
Well, she used to host this show. If someone's watching, if someone Google this? Yeah. TV, it was called UFO TV, the host. I can't remember. I know his name. I can't remember it. Anyway, he's done a couple of interviews with Al Bielek and Preston. Is it Preston? Not Preston Dennett, the other guy. Not Preston Dent. What's the other guy called from Montauk?
Oh,
Preston Nichols.
Preston. So Preston Nichols, he was the same guy that was at MK Ultra.
Yeah,
he started
right.
MK, and he was at the Philadelphia experiment.
Yeah,
he was part of. He's the main link of all three of them.
Yeah, that whole. I mean, I think there were a lot of disinformation thrown in, somewhere along the line for sure, for obvious reasons. But I think that the core of the story is absolutely brilliant. It's amazing, that whole case, and listening to that Al Biolek interview, listening to him talk and explain, listening to him going back in time and what he did and when he did it. It's like you've probably seen the poor man's version of that if you listen to what was the recent guy who said he went to see Christ's resurrection, and Bellagio, help me out. Come on, he traveled in time with his dad. He were part of that time travel experiments, and the jump rooms used to be in the middle of the city. Oh, he's called Andrew Basiago. Have you not heard of that, Andrew Basiago?
Yes, I have. Yes. I actually had a conversation about him a couple of months ago.
Yeah, look, really interesting case. And if you listen to him talk at times, if you think, wow, this is amazing. And I'm sure he said it's something to do with, isn't that the one that Obama was supposed to be part of, the time travel project or something like that? It all got crazy. It all just got wild, didn't it? But if you listen to him, like, tell this story, you would really believe him, if you didn't know better. That's not to say it didn't happen. I don't know whether it happened, but the comparison between him and Al Biolek, listening to him, there's something really authentic about that Al Biolek when he does it.
Project Pegasus.
That's the one, Project Pegasus, yeah.
And Packing for Mars. I'm guessing it's the same thing.
Said, yes, Obama and him went to Mars.
Yeah, the story it started where he was part of it as a child. He was a bit like very, very Stranger Things, Montauk type thing. He was recruited as a child. His father was part of the program. He was a time traveler as well. He inducted him into the program because he had I think he had a special ability or something as well, like something to do with the bloodline, I think. And and he were part of this time traveling program where they would go back in time and do things and look at things and try and change history and things like that. Fascinating story, but I get to thinking that's all it was in his case. But who knows? I don't know.
Yeah, because the super soldiers, it's like where they say 20 and back, where they do all these missions and that, and when they come back, they go back into the body they was in before they left. Tony Rodriguez, he was one of them. I've interviewed him. I've watched him on a couple of different shows, and he pretty much sticks to the same, I'm not going to say story, but the same details. It doesn't change. It's straight down as it is. So
see, that was wild because the story is so outlandish, fighting these giant mantis people and getting their arm chopped off and regrown. But the fact that he has stayed so consistent with all of these details is wild. So whether or not it happened, he believes it happened.
But have you heard of ARC? So when Laura Eisenhower was on, she was at a party or on a date or something, and they said to her about getting her ready to go to Mars, and they mentioned ARC, but no one else seems to know about it. So it was at this private function, and she was like, "Nah, I'm getting out of there. I'm gone," because obviously she didn't want to go to Mars because she didn't know if she was ever going to come back. And you can watch that in the interviews that I did with her. Was it last year, the year before? I don't know. Whenever it was, and she goes into detail of what happened. Obviously, she was there. She is the one who experienced it. And
does she acknowledge that she may well have, at some point along the way, like all of us, been fed a lot of misinformation?
I think everyone does. We'd be stupid to not believe that.
Yeah.
But then...
Well, what I'm saying is some people don't acknowledge it at all. They just think,
yeah,
this is the answer. This happened to me, and this is what's happening. And it's like,
yeah,
you know, I think like you said earlier, as a matter of fact, it's a bit.
But how do you filter out the BS from the truth?
No, that's true. And like Nicole said earlier, if you believe it's happened to you, then you believe it. You know, and I mean that sounds really disparaging, actually. You know, like for someone that interviews witnesses, I shouldn't. Do you know what I mean? I'm not talking about your everyday witness. I'm talking about these people that have been on Mars fighting reptilians, mantids.
Yeah.
They then went to another universe and married.
They've had a lifetime of doing it. Yeah.
But again, that's their reality.
Yeah.
Whether or not that's our reality, that's their reality. They experienced it. That happened to them.
Yeah, but knowing how these things work, if you remember, like the original, if you think some of the original, what they classed as super soldiers before it became a pop culture term, like, is it Duncan? Oh, he's one of the first ones. Can't remember his surname. Duncan. And Max Spears was one of the early ones, if you remember Max Spears. And then there were a couple of guys before him. But what they were doing, and they do this, they did the same with the MyLabs, and they do the same with the abductees. You come back, you fed a load of information, so that when the programming breaks down, which traditionally with super soldiers, it's usually around the age of about 30, isn't it? Somewhere along that, and the Monarchs and the MKs, it's around the age of 30. When it starts to break down, not all of them, but some of them, there's so much crap been reprogrammed into the story that no one's. It's a bit like seeing the clown and seeing Mickey Mouse and these abductees. No one's ever going to take that seriously, you know.
But this is what Tony Rodriguez was saying. They tried to erase his knowledge as to what had gone on, but for some reason they couldn't do it, and they just literally had to let him go. And it was a case of, well, if he knows, he knows. If it worked, it worked. It didn't. Not a lot we can do about it. And that's
when I was making the Don't Mention Reptilians, I interviewed James Rink. Do you know James Rink?
No.
Yeah, he's a super soldier. It's called.
I'm rubbish with names.
He's got probably the biggest. It's called Super Soldier Talk. He's the host of Super Soldier Talk. Big YouTube channel. All super soldiers are on there. Yeah, and his story is wild. Like, you know, and it's just maybe it's just the fact that I can't. Again, it's like everything else, isn't it? If you don't focus on it and sit within the subject and get your head around the whole picture, from the outside looking in, it can look like completely just what. But so can any of these things, I suppose, in his defense. You know, whenever you look, just take the cryptid thing as a thing. What can you imagine? What the hell's going on? And the same with the fair. You know, it can soon get just crazy. But it is crazy, this stuff. It is crazy. We all know it is, you know.
Yeah, so do you think that we're, like, I suppose it's soft disclosure, like Hollywood, TV, media and all that, we're being told what's going on without actually being told what's going on?
Yeah, I think that's the case. I don't know whether it's as it's going to go one way or the other now, and I think they would definitely and still do, and they don't just do it with sci-fi. They do it with shows like Black Mirror about control, about how to manipulate the population, how to program the population through certain programs and ideas, and a lot of that is done with shows about politics or shows about social conditioning. I mean, look, after 2020, I won't say the event, but after 2020, we got a bunch of shows that featured that, didn't we? You know, and it was more social programming.
But it's like even kids' cartoons and TV shows are very like that. And it was Darren that pointed out Baby with a Laser, and he's like, if you look at what they're actually saying, it gives you a whole new perspective of what the show is actually about.
Yeah, well, they used to say that about a lot of the old cartoons, and what's that famous one? What is it called? James Bartley mentioned it to me. Do you remember? Is it Thundercats?
Oh yeah.
Do you remember
One of my
Thundercats?
favourite.
Well, yeah. Who's the enemy in the Thundercats? Do you remember?
Oh no. I should know.
In the original story, I think it's the guy with all the mummy wrappings. I can't remember his name.
Mum Ra.
Oh, yes.
Mum Ra.
Mum Ra.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mum Ra. Right. But then there's a team of I think they left in the primary show. They left the planet, and they were chased off the planet by reptilians. That was the story. A bit like in the. Do you remember? They Live, the movie. In the book,
yes,
they were reptilian. In the show, obviously, they were the skull type aliens, weren't they? With cool, really
the
cool
TV
design.
show. V, remember V from the 80s?
Yeah, brilliant show. Yeah, loved it. Yeah,
that was the same thing. So,
yeah, and it's a brilliant. I can still watch that now. It's such a.
Well, I've started watching the X-Files from the very beginning.
Yeah, it's brilliant.
All I've got to say is the acting. I'm sure the acting gets better. It's got to, because it's dreadful at the very beginning. There's 11 seasons of X-Files. But I just want to see. Brilliant. But the reason that I'm watching it, I want to see what happened in each episode to what's going on now, or what has happened in the last few years.
Oh, there'll be loads of nuggets in there, I would have thought. Yeah, I mean, definitely. I actually liked the first movie. A lot of people hated it, but I really loved it.
I remember watching it. I can't remember what it was about. It was so. Don't you, my memory is so bad.
I bet if you watch that again, you'll really enjoy it. It's very good, very good. Yeah. And then they did the abomination of that second one, didn't they? But we don't talk about that.
No, I definitely didn't watch the second one.
Yeah, don't bother. Not the Scottish comedian, is he? What's he called? Billy Connolly in it, isn't it?
Oh, is it?
Oh. Yeah. Don't. Yeah, it's and he plays anyway. I won't tell you what he plays, but he's not a nice guy.
Yeah. If you want to watch, go on. I was going to say, if you want, just quickly, if you want to watch a good movie, a remake, it's quite dark. The Crow.
Yeah, I've not watched it yet.
It is so good. I'm watching it in bed. I'm like, yo, you can't breathe when stuff's going on. It's just so. If you're into all this, you'll pick up on it a lot more. That's what I'll say. I don't want to ruin it for anyone. So yeah.
I was going to say, we have just a couple minutes left. Can we hit this question? We have one question.
Yes.
From Sober Carper. Hi, Chris. I've got your work and followed your research for years, and you are always the first to say you never see anything. So what keeps you so entrenched in the phenomena?
The fact that I never see anything. I wouldn't say, I know I always do say I never see anything, but I think I probably treat myself the same way I treat witnesses, and not over harshly, but I want to see what the evidence is. I want to see what it is, and at times I have seen it. So particularly up at Bempton, at Winter Hill, I've seen some stuff. Yeah. And when I've seen some stuff in the house via the research. These weren't coincidences. I didn't come back from a weekend with David Icke and come over and see a big yellow ball in the front room. That wasn't coincidence. I don't think it was a coincidence that we were meant to go a day earlier to David Icke's place, and that day the terminal ferry collapsed and loads of cars and people died. It fell into the it fell into the sea. Had we gone on that ferry, we'd have been on it. Not to say that I'm just saying we would have been on that ship, and for whatever reason, something happened and we missed the boat, or something happened like weird, and we didn't get that boat. Who knows? Might be looking a bit too deep into that, but it was strange.
Yeah. But you say coincidences, but coincidences aren't coincidences. They're meant to happen.
Yes, I agree. They are these paths, aren't they?
Yeah. Yeah.
That we can
Definitely.
be nudged down. We can be nudged in
Yeah.
one direction or another. Mm-hmm.
Just hope that we go down the right one. So
That's right.
we have come to the end. Thank you again, Chris, for coming on. Absolute pleasure. And we never spoke about Inner Earth. But you know what?
Part
it doesn't
3?
matter. Hey?
We'll have to do a part 3.
Yeah. I think we're just bypassing Inner Earth. Yeah. Definitely.
Well, with Inner Earth, look, the problem with Inner Earth, we said it earlier, don't we? You kind of end up going around in circles with Admiral Byrd, and I think people are kind of bored of it.
Yeah, it's like talking about the Loch Ness Monster or the Winchester House or the Bell Witch or Jersey Devil. There's only so much information on it because there's no updates and nothing has changed since then.
No, the only time I can listen to Admiral Byrd is if you've got someone that's really good at telling the story. And I'm not a great storyteller, but some people are really good, aren't they? And you just think, well, I know the story about this guy's great. I'm just going to listen to it. And that's, that's great. Yeah,
but I mean, like the interview with Admiral Byrd, you can't change that interview. It's been recorded, or the interviews, and that's it. That's what you've got. You can't get anything else from that.
No, there's only so much you can pick apart.
Yeah, without jumping real into speculation. Yeah, even more. Yeah.
Totally.
But we had a good chat today.
Yeah, I agree.
I've really enjoyed it. So I'd say thank you for coming on. We are at the end of the show. So appreciation to Chris and Nicole, Og, and Nickname for doing the modding. Gerald and Jane are busy doing their channel because that's how it is. So that's
we love that anyway.
Is there anything you want to add, Chris, before we knock it on the head?
If you're not watching Last Transmission, you should be on Tuesdays. Yeah.
So that goes out. That's 7 o'clock, isn't it?
7 o'clock on a Tuesday. Yeah. If you're not watching us, please come along, give it a go. It's more of the same. More of the same.
Yeah. So there's you and Paul Sinclair, isn't there, at the moment?
Yeah, me and Paul. What you do get, because Paul's involved, you do get a lot of new stuff. Usually every week there's new sightings and that kind of stuff. So yeah.
Cool. Right. So we are not on until next Wednesday, when, fingers crossed, we'll have Jason Kenzie coming on. He's a Canadian Bigfoot researcher.
So, he's all right, him.
So he's down for coming on next week. I'm just waiting for him to confirm that it's still good. And then the week after, the 14th, we're doing something special. So you'll have to watch out for that. The 16th is with Brandon and Dawn, due to people not being able to do the 9th or the 2nd or the 23rd or any other day. But that is going out to members only on YouTube. I can't share it across to Patreon because I don't know how. So if you are a Patreon member, which there are a couple of people, but it doesn't tell me who the members are, so I can't even
message them or anything.
Yeah, no, nothing. It just says you've got a member on da-da-da-da.
If you're a Patreon member, message
forget it. Yeah, and come over to YouTube like Simon has, and that's it.
Yeah.
So any that we do on a Friday is for members only. So that's it. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm off camping somewhere in the Cotswolds. Can't wait. Yes.
Rather you than me.
I will be at Trans Allegheny Lunatic Asylum this weekend.
Very nice. They might keep you in. Yeah. Right. So on that note, have fun, whatever you're doing over the weekend. Don't get too sunburnt. And we'll see you next Wednesday with Jason Kenzie. So take care and goodbye. Thanks.
See you later, guys.
See you later. Bye.
this episode will also be available as audio wherever you listen to your podcasts.
Goodbye.